Khabib Nurmagomedov has pushed Islam Makhachev to his limits in training camp ahead of his fight with Della Maddalena. On the other hand, Alexander Volkanovski shared his perspective on the matchup, noting that Jack's performance against Belal Muhammad served as excellent preparation. He pointed out that Jack's ability to shut down Belal's wrestling attempts and flip those moments into confidence boosted his overall defensive skills. Volkanovski emphasized that even elite grapplers will struggle to bring Jack down or hold him in place once the action hits the mat.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stop and takedowns, because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, worried about, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, I guarantee you, if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. Only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Moreover, George Masvidal also weighed in on the clash between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena, giving the edge to Islam. He acknowledged Jack's crisp striking and the solid takedown resistance he showed against Belal, but argued that Islam's grappling is on another tier. Masvidal mentioned that Jack could have early success on the feet. Islam's relentless pace and world-class wrestling would likely tilt the fight his way as time went on.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is though, Jack is special. We're gonna see just how special he is if he beats Islam Jack, #1 pound for. Wow, that's impressive. I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
But I really think it's gonna be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Belal.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops. A dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
However, Khabib Nurmagomedov has been pushing Islam Makhachev to his absolute limits in training camp as he prepares for Della Maddalena, demanding peak conditioning and sharpening every part of his game. Their camp has included grueling sessions in the mountains where the altitude training pushes Islam's lungs and endurance to the edge, along with relentless drills that test his grappling transitions and ability to handle pressure. Known for his intense coaching style, Khabib believes that by training harder than the fight itself, Islam will be ready to overcome Jack's striking and physicality in the new weight class. Furthermore, Luke Rockhold described the clash between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena as both challenging and thrilling. He placed Islam, Ilia Topuria, and Jack among the best fighters in the UFC today, praising Jack for his fan-friendly style and underrated wrestling while highlighting Islam's years of grappling mastery. Rockhold also pointed out the size dynamic, noting that Jack is naturally larger while Islam is bulked up for the new division, which makes the bout even more compelling.
That's a tough fight. That's a very tough fight. It's going to be interesting. I think those are my three favorite fighters in the UFC right now. We go Islam, Topuria, and JDM. He's fun to watch. So, that's going to be a great fight. He's no slouch at wrestling, but you have a guy that's wrestled his whole life and grappled his whole life versus JDM, who's kind of like, he's secondary on that, but, you never know. He's a bigger guy. So, we'll see how Islam, how he bulks up and how he looks. He looks a lot bigger than what I remember. I used to train with him forever. So, he's definitely grown. We'll see how he carries the weight.
Islam Dulatov spoke about the upcoming fight between Islam Makhachev and Della Maddalena, saying that even though many consider it an easy victory for Makhachev, he disagrees. He admitted that Makhachev should be favored but expects the matchup to be difficult. Dulatov explained that while Makhachev appears big at lightweight, he isn't particularly large at welterweight, and Maddalena could have edges in both size and striking, while Makhachev still holds the upper hand in grappling.
think that it's gonna be an easy fight for Islam, but I don't think that it's gonna be that easy. I think Islam gonna win, but I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight for him, like everybody thinks, because Islam is maybe big for lightweight, but he's not big for welterweight.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's why I would say, like, I don't know, he don't look for me so big.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it's just on pictures or whatever, but actually, you know, I think JDM has a lot more of weight than him. But at the end of the day, I think JDM has better striking, and Islam has for sure the better ground game. And I think
he later repeated that he still backed Makhachev to win despite the challenges. Della warned fans not to underestimate Maddalena, pointing out that he has earned his place among the best and is a legitimate danger. In the end, Della stayed firm in his belief that Makhachev will come out on top, though he stressed the fight will not be an easy one.
If I said you had to choose one fighter to win that one, who would you choose?
Islam.
Really, Islam? You're just saying how he wasn't big enough.
Yeah, but I say he will win this.
You really?
Yeah. I think he gonna win this for sure.
Oh, for sure.
You know, like, I'm very sure that he's gonna win this.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be not an easy fight.
Not easy.
You know,
fight.
like because I see in the comments, like, a lot of people, oh, JDM, it's over for you. You know, like, people make this guy like very small. You know, and actually, bro, that's a reason why he's there. You know, why he's a champ. So I think it's gonna be a tough fight, but Islam gonna win for sure.
Renato Moicano viewed the contest as fairly even. He acknowledged Islam's dominance at lightweight, especially with his grappling and size advantage there, but stressed that moving up means facing naturally bigger athletes. Moicano noted that Islam will need time and adjust at welterweight, which in his eyes makes this matchup more competitive.
So, Islam versus JDM.
I think they probably should be even, you know, because even though Islam is a good grappler, he's big for 155. He's moving to 170. We never know, you know. I think he needs to take some time to work on to gain weight, to gain power, you know, to gain strength. So that's why the odds are even, and I think they should be even.
Craig Jones said that Islam Makhachev is walking into one of the toughest tests of his career. He pointed to Islam's first fight with Volkanovski as proof that elite scrambling can create problems for him, and noted that Jack Della Maddalena brings even more unpredictability with his transitions and ability to break grips.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well.
Jones also underlined Jack's creativity, saying it makes him much harder to prepare than for someone like Belal Muhammad, who follows a strict game plan. He mentioned that Jack's size could surprise people and predicted the fight might turn into a chaotic, striking heavy battle that the UFC would be eager to showcase.
But in terms of creativity and what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that. So I think, like, Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volk's work together, seeing the skill sets, like, this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemy.
Khabib Nurmagomedov said that he views Jack Della Maddalena as possibly the toughest opponent Islam Makhachev will ever face. He explained that Jack is much bigger than Ilia Topuria, just as skilled, and has strong grappling of his own. Khabib added that if he had to prepare Islam for either Ilia or Jack, Maddalena would definitely be the tougher assignment.
Считаю, что Мадалена самый сложный соперник в ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Мадалена 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я, например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или с Maddalena, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Maddalena.
Max Holloway pointed out that many people are underestimating Jack Della Maddalena, even though he is ranked number 2 pound for pound and recognized as one of the best in the sport. He suggested the fight could happen in October and expects it to be a difficult, tactical, and entertaining matchup. Max warned that Jack should not be taken lightly.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, you know, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is gonna find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's gonna be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So I mean, he is, you know, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason. So you gotta respect that, but. You know, don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Jack Hermansson spoke about the risks fighters face when moving into a different weight class. He praised Islam's run at lightweight, calling him one of the best fighters of pound for pound, and yet wondered if the same level of control would translate at 170. Even with that uncertainty, Hermansson still favored Islam. He also commended Jack's showing against Belal Muhammad, though he felt Jack still needs more fights to prove his true standing in the division.
Yeah, it's so hard because you never know when people are changing weight classes. But in lightweight, you know, Islam looks like unbeatable. It's just like maybe the pound for pound best. It's just so insanely good. But can he do it in a weight class above? I'm not sure. Really, really hard to predict a fight like that. I think I still have to say Islam.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah, we need to see a few more fights with Jack. It looked amazing against Bilal, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's something about Islam is just so good.
Sean O'Malley spoke about the matchup between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena, calling it a big fight, but admitting it doesn't bring the same buzz as a possible clash with Ilia Topuria. He credited Jack Della Maddalena's win over Belal Muhammad for adding more interest to his contest, and mentioned that if Jack can stop the takedowns and land clean punches, the fight could get very competitive.
Islam relinquish his belt and go up to 170. Got JDM taking on Islam Makhachev.
I still think Islam's skill for skill is just so high level. For him to go out there and do what he did against Belal was very impressive, made that Islam fight more interesting. If JDM can shut him down and throw those hands, but Islam's boxing is underrated. That dude is slick. His kickboxing, his timing, like he's a high level black belt in every aspect of MMA. We'll give him that. Jack versus Islam, I think, is huge. Not as big as Ilia versus Islam, but who knows? Maybe they both win and Islam comes back down to 55 and the fight's even bigger.
O'Malley also viewed Islam's move to welterweight as an exciting step, saying the size difference with Jack won't be as big as many assume. He added that because of Islam's wide skill set, his striking could end up being a bigger part of the fight than most people expect.
How do you think Islam does at welterweight?
Who knows? I heard he's not going to be any smaller than Jack come fight night. 55 to 70, that's a little bit different than 35 to 45, 45 to 55. But when your skill level's that high as Islam's is, it'll be interesting if he goes in there and tries to shoot on Jack. Jack stuffs him and gets in his face. But Islam's striking is so underrated. Islam can put the hands on Jack too.
Philip Rowe, however, strongly backed Jack Della Maddalena to win. He argued that Islam lacks the frame to dominate at welterweight and predicted that Jack's strength would allow him to shrug off takedowns and overpower Islam, setting up a finish.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chillin'.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Gilbert Burns backed Islam Makhachev's move to welterweight, saying the cut to 155 had become too brutal. He praised Islam as one of the top fighters in the world today, but admitted Jack Della Maddalena is a real problem. Burns highlighted Jack's elite training partners like Craig Jones and Alexander Volkanovski as key reasons why this matchup is so competitive.
Islam is working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I've proven himself. He's #1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're gonna have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Jill Sonnen raised the question of whether Islam Makhachev would remain at welterweight for another title push if he were to lose to Jack Della Maddalena or instead return to lightweight. He pointed to fighters like Ilia Topuria and Islam himself as examples of athletes whose careers are fueled by the pursuit of championships. Sonnen stressed that in MMA, nothing drives a fighter more than the chase for the belt.
If he loses to Jack, does he get right back in the mix at 170? His way back to that title shot. Is that what he does, or is he way back down to 155 pounds? Was Ilia what he's going through now, what it is Islam in the announcement that we just got? What I'm attempting to prove to you is there is nothing in this sport that matters more to the fighters than the weight.
Islam's coach Javier Mendez made it clear that their camp isn't underestimating Jack. He said those who think Jack is an easy fight don't realize the level he's competing at. Mendez praised Jack's toughness, pointing to his performance against Belal Muhammad, and explained that both he and Khabib recognize the danger he brings.
You know, if we as coaches think Jack is easier, we're stupid. We are very stupid. Then we didn't watch the Belal fight, because Belal can take a hell of a shot. He can take a hell of a shot, and he took him. And he gave him two. Belal gave him two. So it was a war. That fight was a war. And you know what? For us to think it's an easy fight for us, you know, what kind of idiot coaches are we? Khabib's not an idiot, and neither am I. And neither is Magomed, neither is Saif Safullah and Muhammad, the other coaches that they work with Islam. We're not stupid.
Mendez added that Jack's threat comes not only from size, but also from his striking variety. He explained that Jack mixes heavy hands with sharp kicks to the head, body, and legs. While he called Ilia Topuria the smoothest boxer, he warned that Jack's complete stand-up game is a serious challenge. He stressed that Islam must be at his very best or risk an upset.
We know what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a much bigger guy, and just as dangerous, if not more dangerous in different variations. Not boxing, because I think Topuria's got the best boxing in the business. I still believe that. But Jack is well-versed in the kicking and the arsenal, how he mixes it up. He's really good at head and body, leg, everything. He's really, really good at that. So we have our hands cut out for us. It's not an easy fight at all. If Islam, by some miracle of a chance, makes that fight to be like slam dunk, it's because we were properly prepared, or Jack wasn't as prepared, or Jack was injured, or Jack just got caught. But it's gonna be one of those fights. It's not easy. No way in hell is that fight gonna be easy. Very tough fight.
Charles Oliveira recognized Jack Della Maddalena as a serious threat because of his calm and methodical approach. He noted that Jack showed patience against Belal Muhammad, slowly breaking him down rather than forcing the action. Even so, Oliveira predicted that Islam Makhachev will rely heavily on his grappling, adding that the result may come down to whether Jack can keep the fight standing and connect with strikes regularly.
O que você acha que ganha entre o Jack Della Maddalena e o Islam?
Maddalena, ele é um jogo muito complicado, porque ele é um cara que ele não vem pra te nocautear rápido, ele vem pra ele vem te magoando, né?
Aos poucos, né?
Aos poucos. Foi o que ele fez agora no luta contra o Bilal. Só que eu acho que o Islam vai se dar muito bem nessa categoria, né, mano? Agora vai estar muito mais forte. É um jogo que, tipo, ele gosta de agarrar e botar pra baixo. Eu acho que o Jack Maddalena fazia a mesma luta que ele fez, né? Agora contra o Bilal, batendo, movimentando, saindo, machucando, é uma luta. Mas se deixar o Islam agarrar e botar pra baixo, é o time.
Daniel Cormier also cautioned Islam to refine his wrestling before meeting Jack. He pointed out that Islam had trouble keeping Dustin Poirier controlled and warned that Jack's recent takedown defense has looked excellent. Cormier believes Islam must improve his entries and positioning to stay safe in this matchup.
Islam Jack is going to be a great fight, especially seeing Jack defend takedowns in the way that he did. And Islam, he struggled a little to take down Dustin Poirier. He didn't take him down as easily as he had taken down other guys. So I think that for Makhachev, he needs to really lock in on getting that wrestling ready to fight a guy in Jack Della Maddalena who showed great takedown defense. And man, this dude's got some good boxing, especially when you're in tight with him. His hands are good. in close.
And Gary admitted the fight is tough to predict. He complimented Islam Makhachev's complete skill set but pointed out that stepping up in weight brings added questions. Gary stressed that Jack Della Maddalena is naturally bigger than Volkanovski and combines strong takedown defense with top-level striking, which could cause real problems even if Islam enters as the favorite.
Who do you think wins, Jack or Islam?
It's such a tough one to talk about. Islam is phenomenal. He's good everywhere. Size matters. When you're talking about an extra 15 pounds, when you look at the size of Volkanovski versus Jack Della Maddalena, there's a big size discrepancy. And Volk gave him a good fight. And then Dustin Poirier, it wasn't absolutely completely dominant by Islam. It was a tough fight. Size is going to play a huge part. Even on the ground, I feel like Jack could get it done with just some clean boxing and good takedown defense. But I can absolutely see Islam coming in and doing what Islam does and going out there and just looks like the phenomenal mixed martial artist he is.
Mohamed Mokaev shared his opinion on a future fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria, saying it would be far more exciting if Islam wins the welterweight belt while Ilia takes lightweight gold. He argued that making the fight now would lose the chance for maximum build-up.
Now, for example, Islam fights Ilia and he beats him. Example, people say he beat another 145er, but Islam wins the title now at welterweight, and then Ilia beats Oliveira. That's even bigger fights to create, right? So I don't think Islam needs to slow down his career. He go take even they strip his belt off. In my opinion, he will be double champion, because that's how it started. If Conor could, why Islam can't, you know? And I think it create bigger name for them if this way better, rather than Islam fight Topuria and the hype slows down, you know what I mean? I'd rather see Islam becomes the champion, Ilia Topuria becomes the champion, and they can fight at catchweight for the, I don't know, whatever they want, you know?
And that's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the matchup? We'd love to hear your thoughts on this, so share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also, check out our other videos on the screen right now.